Imagine sleeping every single night in a dark forest, alone. No walls, no roofs, completely exposed to storms, so falling branches, falling trees, wild nocturnal animals. That was my reality for almost 100 days in 2022. So in this video, I'm going to share what I learned and how this experience changed my life. Hello, I'm David and welcome to my YouTube channel. And by the way, I'm a little bit sick, so sorry about my voice, but I promised myself that I would film today, so that's what I have to do. So if you guys have checked out my channel, you know I'm way more focused on the internal things rather than the external ones. So yes, I learned obviously a lot of outdoor skills. I built a cabin, so I learned how to treat wood.
Also es steht jetzt mittlerweile schon ein bisschen mehr.
Yeah, what I wanted to focus on are the truly transforming things for my internal state and my personal character. So yeah, point number one is confronting my fears made them disappear. So this happened on several levels. The obvious one is sleeping alone in the forest at night, being alone in the dark. Yeah, of course, this is a kind of a deep fear of human beings, especially when you hear those wild pigs, those wild boars approach within a few meters, and you're lying there asleep, and within 1 second you're wide awake. Because the adrenaline, it just shoots through your body. You hear like a danger approaching you, and it's like, and then you're awake. That's something you would never experience in a city. This feeling, this primal experience. And this is the reason why I love being in the forest, because it was also, everything was so raw, everything was so real and so true and dangerous. And yeah, that was definitely transforming. So yeah, like I said, those adrenaline shoots, they happen the whole time, every time when I hear a boar approach, like every other night basically. But at first it came with fear, but later on, it was just more like an excitement. It became way more playful because at first they are, they don't want to fight. They just want to steal my food, but I packed it away well, so they didn't got any. So yeah, so they just tried and then left again. A very helpful thing though was, just for my mind, is taking my axe and putting on my chest and just sleeping with it, close. Not that I would plan to fight, but just, in the unlikely case, that was helpful. And yeah, this was one of the obvious fears, and it was gone after like 1 week. But yeah, boars weren't the real danger though. Like, I was way more scared of I was not scared, but I was like, let's say, a bit worried about what if a human being finds me and knows where I am and then comes back in the night. Because when you're sleeping in the dark forest alone, that's the moment when you remember all those fucking horror movies you once watched. Be like, what are the names? Like, it's always something alone in the dark, alone in the forest, Blair Witch Project forest, whatever, But yeah, you always wake up the next day and realize there was nothing to be fearful of. And yeah, since you're in that situation, there is no way out anyway. So, I mean, what should you do? Wandering through the whole forest at night? Yeah, good luck with that. That's way more dangerous than just stay in the hammock, what was very important for me as well was to stay in a constant state of gratitude towards the forest and the spirits of the forest. I wanted to be respectfully enter their realm. I understand that that may sound nuts for a few of you, but it's basically in every culture in the world. If it's Asian, African, South American, whichever, that they nurture the spirits of their nature. It's just a Western philosophy and the Western civilization that is so disconnected from nature, what I personally perceive as very unhealthy and a huge problem. So when I enter a forest or a part of nature that feels, I don't know, that's vibrating in a way, I try to thank the spirits of this place and try to be respectful. Yeah. But on a deeper level, I did not only confront the fear of going into a forest. On a deeper level, I confronted my fear of being homeless again, because I was homeless when I was 14 or 15. This time of my life is a little bit of a blur, but I went back into homelessness, which has been a demon that was following me. So by taking this risk, I was very aware that I could potentially re-traumatize myself. But I was just so confident that I would rewrite this experience by just going back at it and going into my biggest fear again. And that period went for, like I said, the forests were around 3 months, 100 days. But then I spent the whole winter being homeless. So that was quite a challenge, and it was one of the biggest challenges I ever imposed on myself. And let me think how I frame this. There is no greater teacher than, in my life at least, than being homeless. The way how I developed, it is unimaginable. Because, during winter, I was like mainly in the library and in the gym. That was literally what I did all day long. So I was sleeping in offices at night. And then in the morning before work started, I had to get up, go to the library and just read and wrote. Read Nietzsche, wrote C.G. Jung. I was just engaging in this abstract, complex philosophical ideas. Later at night, I was going to the gym. I was working out, I was showering, and then back in the office. And that was my life, every day. And it was like transforming. So it was a great teacher. And it was so different now that I was, how old have I been? Don't let me lie. I was 27 when I did it again, and the first time I was 14 or 15. And it was a complete different experience because I was self-empowered this time. I made a decision, and this decision of being homeless was not forced onto me by my outer environmental situation. So by facing the pain and going into the pain consciously and head on, made the whole thing completely different. So back in the day, it was life-destroying, but nowadays it was just a rough challenge. I confronted the demons of my past and found the pot of gold in the end. Like in mythological terms, the treasure is where the dragon hoards it. So you want to go where you want to go the least in order to find what you really need. So that was kind of the idea. And that was just what I did. I embraced the pain. I just went into the dark valley of pain and I emerged like a phoenix. A bit exaggerated, but you know what I mean. Number 2, letting go is easy and liberating. So this was the ultimate experience of letting go. The one day I was a member of society, the other day, or the next day rather, I was alone in the woods. So I had to let go of almost everything. All the comfort, all the safety, and just following my intuition. So why did I do it? Because I wanted to truly find out what I want to do with my life. We have so many options and it's so difficult to really hear ourselves because of all those outside stimuli. But a forest is calm. A forest is silent. And then I would be able to listen better to my inner voices. So that was the main idea. But yeah, I had to let go of my old life. And, there is this concept, the more you let go, the more you can receive. And that's so true. Because as long as you are, engaged or, filled up with all these other ideas and all these other goals and motivations, nothing else can enter your system because you're kind of full. But when you let it go, you can receive so much more. And yeah, I had to let go of my old life, and then I had to let go of my new life as well as comedian. That's a full-time job as well, like even more. And yeah, by letting go, I now liberated myself. It is just such a superpower. As an artist, you have to be a bit crazy. You have to make some interesting experience, some stories, you have to being able to tell something unique. And yeah, by letting go of all these social conventions, I just liberated myself to do whatever I wanted. It doesn't look good in my CV. Yeah, I mean, who the fuck cares? Who cares? I have a fucking 5-year gap somewhere. So this road is gone. That opportunity is gone. So I have to make it this way. So I decided to let go of everything and put another layer onto my story, to make it a deeper layer, to get back into the experience and become even more aware of what my story actually means. And a story is important nowadays. That's just how it is. So, and it's natural, You should listen to people who have experienced something rather than people who are only talking. And I love my story, It's like I was as far down as possible, and now I'm going to rise. Not as high as possible, but, fucking high. And this is very motivating and uplifting, and I know I can do it because the hard part is already over, The hardest part I already made. From now on, it's just putting in the reps. So I have my vision and I have my passion, and I've looked for it so long, and I just found it because I have let go. And even though I still struggle, now I have something that gets me out of the bed in the morning if I don't want to, or whatever the case may be, There is a clear priority now to do my work, to fulfill my vision and my dreams. And I could only find it, like I said, because I have let go. Okay, point number 3, sharpening my instincts improved my relationships. So when I was in the forest, I was not speaking. Sometimes when I would film a scene for the movie, but I was mainly focused on my other senses. And not only my senses like listening and seeing and smelling, but my instincts, which are just located somewhere deeper. And I had to become an animal, amongst animals, you know. I had to defend my food. I had to think differently. I had to act differently. And since you would never be in such a state in normal life, you would never get these learnings out of it. You know, you would never feel your body in that certain way, which is, by the way, a completely different state. Like, this is the true state how human beings live, you know, because we are monkeys. We belong in a forest, basically. So after a few weeks, my whole state was just so different. But yeah, that's not the point here. What I want to say actually is it had many side effects now that I went back into normal life. I can't do it without the quotes because our life is not normal here. I'm sorry. But yeah, a few side effects. When I think about like this wild animal side I developed, I have to say it like completely transformed my sex life. You know, any woman I was with loved it when I fucked like a wild animal. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but that's just how it is. And not only the romantic relationship improved, but my friendships as well, you know. Because when your instincts are more sharp and you are just feeling your friends or whoever you're talking with better, you can just understand much better. You can go on a much deeper place and even reflect your own behavior much better. And one thing you have to understand, what I did, you know, was very polarizing to my whole circle, you know. A few people abandoned me, you know, like they thought I would get crazy and whatever jazz, you know. So it kind of relieved me of fake relationships, and it just attracted and deepened the relationships I had with people who actually cared for me, you know. There were friends who came to the forest and brought me some tools or brought me first aid kit because they know I'm an idiot and I didn't brought anything, you know. And those relationships, they deepened to such a major degree, and all those other relationships which were just a waste of time just vanished out of my life. So it was like a purification process, you know. It's like going into the jail, you know. That's when you see who are your actual friends and who aren't. So it works with the forest as well. And when I went out of the forest, I had like at least 10 places or stations where I could sleep, you know, because so many people, because I'm so lucky, you know, I can be so grateful that I have so many people in my life who love me. So seeing that and feeling it, you know, this was so beautiful, you know. I mean, I have made this commitment to be homeless and to make this challenge rough. So I didn't sleep at my friends' places too much, like just a few times when there was kind of an emergency. But all the time I was sleeping in offices because I wanted to make it as uncomfortable as possible. Yeah, because otherwise, you know, you don't put yourself into such a challenge and then try to find the easy way out, you know, then it would be all for nothing. That's what I felt. But just to know that I would have the option, yeah, was beautiful. And yeah, definitely gave my relationships a deeper layer. And yeah, I would say I feel more connected with those people who are stood behind me in that period of my life. And you know, I would do anything for them as well. So yeah, so developing finer senses and sharper instincts really transformed my relationships. I can tune into other people's needs and feelings and energies so much easier now. And It's, I think, needless to say that it's transformed the relationship with myself as well. So yeah, that's point number 3. And point number 4, I had to put my spiritual beliefs to the test. Because I live in Germany, and Germany is a very rational and logical country, you know? Like the philosophy and society, it's all based around the logos. So by being spiritual, you get the feeling sometimes that you are just a complete deluded and disillusioned human being, you know? Or you could say an idiot. And that's why I had to put it to the test. So I went into the unknown and I found it's always the most important thing to take the most difficult thing to do the first step. But after you do the first step, the whole universe works kind of in order to help you achieve your goal. But the very first step, which is the hardest, that's the one you have to do by yourself. It's like as if it would, reward bravery. And yeah, I can tell you like a story. The first thing that happened when I went into the forest, I was driving there and there was like a village nearby. And I went to a bike shop in that village because at my bike something was broken. And I don't know, that there was this guy, very old, very funny guy. And for some reason, I told him that I was living in a forest. What is like rationally completely stupid, Like tell a guy from the area that you live in a forest, like that's a danger actually. But, I trusted him and I told him. And the second I told him, he was just freaking out. He was like, "What? That's what you're going to do?" And you have to remember, it's the first day of this journey I did. And he's freaking out and he says, "I'm doing this next year on too. David, whatever you need, however I can help you, always come here. I give you tools, I give you food, whatever it is you need, just come here." And this was the first encounter with any human being I had on this experience. So the universe always provided in my case. But that's probably because I have the faith. And it was not only that story, It was when I then went out of the forest and living during that winter and really tried to roughen the experience. I came on points where I didn't know what to do and how to progress and how to continue anymore. Probably like 10 times, literally 10 times. And every single time, like a miracle, something lucky happened, For example, I found 200 euro. You know what I mean? Like things that normally just wouldn't happen. And it was always, every single time, at that moment when I didn't know how to continue. So I had the faith and it never let me down. It never fell short. So it proved it to me big time. It deepened my trust and yeah, it sold me, kinda. Yeah, now I am very secure, I would say, with my spiritual beliefs, and I don't need anyone to believe the same or to understand me or whatever. I don't need it, I have experienced it, and that's more worth than anything else. So yeah, that was my video about my time in the forest. I hope you liked it. I would really appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel, if you would comment. I love talking with you guys. It's really always a pleasure. And yeah, if you would like or share or subscribe and activate the bell. And yeah, aside from that, I will put a video here about the philosophical question, does God exist? And yeah, thank you very much for watching and goodbye. Does God exist? That seems to be the question for a lot of people. So let me answer this right here, right now, very quickly. The truth is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it is the wrong question.